Hi guys, in this lesson 6, we're going to look at doing the Google image searches. I know that's something that a lot of you probably do a lot for various class activities or even personal use. I just want to show you some search filters and some tools with Google Images that are pretty cool and pretty useful. So we'll do a search for puppies. And then I think most people know we can flip this over here, this little tool, we can flip it over to images. We get all these pictures of images of puppies. And so then one thing to be aware of is that you can come in here and you can actually narrow down the search. So you can say, like, I want fluffy puppies or golden retriever puppies. So these are sort of built-in little image filters that you can switch to. Also, we want to check by size. So sometimes one of the issues you run into, especially with kids will take an image or try to find an image and they'll try to put it in like a presentation or a doc. And we know that it always gets one that it's blurry, the quality is really bad, it doesn't look good. And so we're going to open the tools here, just like we did in some previous lessons. And then there are some filters here under tools. Specifically, we'll start with size. And so you'll see here, you can do exactly or larger than, but a lot of times we want to stay in this large or this medium range. So I'm going to flip these over to medium. So just a descriptor, if you hover your mouse over, you'll see, like here I'm on this guy. This one's 700 by 556, and that's a description of the pixels. And so just for a frame of reference, your screen is generally 1024 wide, so all the way across 1024. So this image being 700 at the beginning, that's the width across, that's about 70% of your screen. So that's a pretty big image. So that's going to be a good quality image. We can also come in here and we can flip those over to large, and that's going to give us even bigger. So this one's 1240. So this in its actual size in pixels is actually larger than the screen. So that's a really good quality image. Well, I'm going to flip these back over to medium. So one of the things to be aware of is you don't want to copy paste them out of this window, because these are just little thumbnails to show the grid and searchable. If you copy paste them out of this window, this is the size of pixelation you're going to actually get, which is small. You want to give it a single click so that you get this sort of expanded image, and then you can do your right click and you can save the image as, or you can copy the image. So we'll copy the image and we'll move it over here. And then we can go and we'll paste this guy in. So you see, this is a really good quality image. We can take it down and size it, and it stays really good. Or if I wanted to blow it up or zoom it in, it could be good to see. So there's the size by type. The next thing we want to look at is how to do the transparent background. And so, I'm over here. A lot of times we'll get these images. This guy's got the white background in the park, which we don't like. This one doesn't match the park. I really want to make it look like my dog is sitting in this park. I've got the background there. So the next option is to come in here, and I'm going to get rid of that size filter. We'll go back to any size. The next option under tools is to come in here and color. And so you can specify the type of color, full, black, white, but the most useful one by far for students, and you probably, is going to be to switch it to transparent. And so what it does is it gets us those images that when I paste them in, they don't have any background. So for example, we'll look at this guy here. And a lot of these you're going to see have this checkered background, which is the sort of the Photoshop kind of universal, there's no background. So again, if I do that save image or copy image, I go back over to my presentation, and I paste him in there, there we get the friendly image that doesn't have the background in it. And now it looks like it's part of that background that I have. That's a game changer. That's a huge deal for kids, probably a huge deal for you in terms of using those images. In terms of the size and the ability to kind of go in and look, let's say, for example, we're going to get rid of these. We'll go back to any color. Let's say I'm going to go Great Depression soup line. And we're in images here. And so sometimes in terms of projects, you want kids to be able to really examine photos, meaning you want them to be able to zoom in really closely and see details of photos. And so if the photos don't have great image sizes, it gets really blurry and it gets hard to see. So for example, here, if I look at this one, this is 289 by 227. That's really not great quality So if I open this up, I'm going to just open this in a new tab. I come in here, and if I try to zoom in, or if I go for kids to go in and look, the quality, giant face by me, is not great. If I take another option here, so here's one. Here's 4,794. So this is a really, really good image in terms of being able to see, and maybe that wasn't actually correct. Let's go ahead and just use those tools, and let's go to large. There we go. We want to be able to get, here we go. Here's a good option. So you'll see this one opens significantly larger. I actually get a magnifying glass. I can actually zoom in and see some details. Maybe we're talking about the looks on people's faces, their clothes, specific signs, what they say, those sorts of things. So sometimes the image is the size and the quality to be able to do that is really important. Other things we want to be able to do is the usage rights. Okay, so let's go back here. We're going to go back to puppies again. And I'll go back to all my sizes on the tools. Okay, so the next one is usage rights. And so this is really important. We don't talk to our kids a lot about being able to actually use images that aren't ours. And the law says it's okay to use whatever images you want to as long as they don't leave the walls of our school buildings. So as long as they don't, if it's just a presentation in a class and it's not going to be published, it's not going to go on a website, or it's not going to be put on Twitter or whatever, it's okay. But most of the time, if we're going to share those products or those presentations out, and people outside USD 264 or wherever we are, whatever building you're working in or district you're working, are going to see those, you have to use specific images. So there's two ones I would suggest. Number one is the non-commercial reuse with modification, or reuse. The only difference between those two is the reuse you can't modify, meaning you can't change the color, you can't put text on top of, etc. This non-commercial reuse for modification. So you'll see when I select that, it actually changes the types of images that are here. So these I can take and I can copy paste, I can put text on, I can alter, I can crop them out, I can put things over the top of them without legally being in trouble if there were any sort of ramifications for those sorts of things. So that's an important discussion to have with students about what's legal or not legal, especially as they move on possibly to university level or whatever it happens to be, and they're putting things or publicizing things on the web. The last thing, and we'll switch this back. The last thing that we want to look at under the tools is the type. And so this is where we can get actually different types of photos. And so I'm going to switch this to clip art. Everybody loves the clip art that goes in, and we use that a lot in presentations. So there's how I got specific clip art photos. If I want to combo that with transparent, now I get clip art that has transparent background where it's not the white on the back. Some things I've seen people do, the line drawing also. These are these just black and white, coloring sheets, if you will, if you want to do those. If you want coloring sheets and you're part of a younger grade, and you can search for them that way, especially the usage rights. We flip that over to being able to be used or modified. The last one, which I use a lot for some of our assignments, is you can flip it over to animated. And these are the GIFs. These are, you don't see them moving here in the thumbnails, but when you click on one, we get the blowing puppy ears here, sleeping. And so that's how you kind of search for GIFs. And so again, you can use those same way. We're just going to right click. We're going to copy that, come over here to our presentation. I'll put it on a new one, and we'll paste that. And then it should be there as we go. Let's see if we can get that to go. Maybe, oh, it's because I did it the wrong way. Sorry. Let's try that again. We'll come in here, we're going to right click. We are going to copy the image address, because we don't just want the image, we want the actual GIF itself. We're going to copy the image address, put the snafu in the middle of my presentation, and then we're going to go back over here and we're going to insert image by URL. So we're not just going to do that, we need the actual address of it. Then we're going to paste, there we go. Now when it goes in, now I actually get the GIF. So So that's how we do some different Google image filters and some different options. Thanks, guys.